Okay, that should be good now.
Wonderful. Okay, seeing all counselors in attendance in person, Emma Fox online, we will move forward to the reading of the mission statement. Do I have a volunteer to read our mission statement today? Amazing. We'll go to William Coates.
Alrighty. To support the evolving needs of the MSU Denver student by advocating in their best interest to enhance the university experience and opportunities.
Okay, absolutely. I did call attendance during the recording. Yeah, no worries. I was just putting on the record right now on the recording, all counselors are present in person. Emma Fox is online. For the record, attendance is done. Okay, on to approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? Or any modifications thereof? We'll go to Will.
I motion that we add size little his name next to his good work.
Is there a second to that motion?
I second that motion.
Okay, any opposition? Okay, wonderful. I'll call that motion pass. For the official version of the agenda, we will have size name written on there as approved. Okay, also on this section of the agenda is approval of the previous meeting minutes. Before I ask for a motion, I think that we should not approve the previous meeting minutes. I think they need a little bit of work, my opinion. I don't think they accurately reflect some of the things that happened last meeting. But I will open the floor. If there's any motions, I will hear them.
Can we first see the meeting minutes?
Certainly.
I'm trying to pull up the previous minutes. They're not there. Sorry, 1 second, guys.
I want to clarify that on mine, I clicked on it and it opened, but.
Yeah, it's right now.
Huh. Okay, well, oh, wonderful. Oh, no. Well, I clicked on it and it opened on my end. I'm happy to present my screen if that's what's needed. Okay, take your time. I'm just gonna pause this right there and we're gonna go over to advisor updates until we get that pulled up. Are there any advisors that would like to speak? Yeah, Cynthia, go ahead.
I have one announcement. Stephanie and Irving. Whoa. Are we good? Okay. Steffi and Irvi were selected to represent student government at the Haku conference that's coming up here at the end of the month in early November. So I just wanted to congratulate them for being nominated and that they will be attending and also participating in a Dress for Success session where they're gonna get to have a lot of fun. So just excited for them and wanted to formally congratulate them.
Good job, guys.
Amazing.
Meeting minutes are up.
Okay, amazing. We'll go back to the meeting minutes. Okay, here's the meeting minutes. I will see hands for discussion or motions if there is any. Okay.
Yeah, I was just curious, Sky, you had mentioned that there were things that you had hoped to change or didn't believe were accurate. And I was just curious if you could name any of those or if it was anything specific in general. Yeah, as we get further along in the meeting where the motions had been made, some of the votes weren't counted in that section. And so I would hope our executive assistant could go over that this next week and review over either the footage or review over notes and correct that. I know there were a few of those motions that not everyone's vote was recorded. And so I just wouldn't want a TSEC to approve them if they're not accurate. Can't see your hand, sorry. Sai, go ahead.
Yeah, it's spell my name again, actually. It's misspelled in that seconded. Cyrus. Thank you.
Okay.
If you know what votes are miscounted or misrepresented, can you let the EA myself know just so we can properly go through that?
Absolutely. I'm happy to collaborate with anyone and everyone that's working on that this week. Does anyone want to put forward a motion to approve, or is everyone okay if we move on without approval? Okay, seeing no motions, we'll move on. We will move on back to advisor updates. If Stephen Armando, did you have anything?
Yes. Keegan, you can go back to sharing the agenda. My advisor update for today is the anti-hazing course. Only about like 4 or 5 of y'all have completed it. That is not the whole council. The deadline was last Friday, so please get that completed ASAP. Additionally, if you have any student org leaders or student organization members who want to attend an anti-hazing course, as of right now, student organization leaders, FSLs, athletics, student employees, I'm missing anybody? And scholarship recipients are mandated as the ones we are tracking. But if you want your general organization members, or if you want to publicize it to the general student body, we will be hosting an in-person session October 14th and November 3rd, both between 12 to 1:30. I'll drop the flyer into the chats.
Amazing. Anything else? Okay, seeing no more advisor updates, we are going to go ahead and move on to announcements and updates. Standing committees, we've limited not discussion, announcements and updates to 1 minute for each standing committee. I will see hands for anyone that wants to speak for a standing committee. Yeah, Matthew?
Accountability Committee met this week. We utilized Emma's goal tracker to attach our internal committee goals to it. And we're finalizing some of the process of how we want to expand that to the rest of the council. But we do also, I will send it in the chat later. I don't remember right off the very tip of my head, but we already do have a time set in 2 weeks to meet as well. So keep you updated.
Amazing. Okay, other standing committee chairs, any updates? PR?
We do have Bring News Kids this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We only had like a few volunteers who was able to participate, so we'll reach out to you as soon as possible about that activity that we're gonna do with the kids. And then we also have the council takeover, so please sign up to it because it's literally next week. So we need to sign up now, and it's been posted up for a while. And for the takeover, we'll communicate with you how to directly do that. And that's pretty much it. That's urgent right now, unless if my vice chairs have anything else to say.
Any other folks from PR? Okay, amazing. For sustainability, the external committee that we've been talking about planning the Know Your Rights training is postponing the event. It will likely be in November. I'll have a date for you soon. That's due to a number of reasons that anyone can ask me about or come to the sustainability committee to see. We meet Tuesdays, 10 a.m. Be there if you can. That's all I have. And then any other standing committee chairs? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to advisory committees. I put on here, we limited those to 30 seconds each. I'm not going to actually time you, but try to keep it brief. Anybody? Faye?
This is tangentially related to both faculty and staff senate. I have scheduled a meeting with the presidents and vice presidents of those bodies, along with a couple other people, to talk about some of the Roadrunner runaround stuff. If you have any personal experiences or anything you would like me to bring to that meeting for those people or would like to attend, please reach out to me.
Wonderful. Other folks? Oh yeah, go ahead, Si.
Yeah, so for both Tivoli Reimagined and the grade review committee, Tivoli Reimagined will be meeting in person on Tuesday, the 21st. I think it's Tivoli room 4 something.
444.
444, yeah. No, 440. And then the grade review is under new leadership, chairship. We welcome Catherine Clyer. Yeah, and she's doing a check-in with the committee on October 21st as well from 9 to 9:30. So yeah, that's all I have.
Amazing. Any other hands to give updates from advisory committees? This also includes SACAB and our student trustee. you all wanted to give an update. Okay, seeing none, we will move on. I do think, though, that given we do have a little bit of extra time, I think an open floor could be available in this interim while we're waiting on Dr. Davidson to get in. If there's anyone that has anything they would like to speak on, I will hear him. Will?
Just a quick update for the council. I'm progressing with the student org resources. We're almost done finalizing the first resource with Tony Ajo's input. And then after that, we will open it up to all counselors to look and give input.
Awesome. Really good work to hear. Seeing no more hands, I would ponder to the council how they would wish for us to proceed. Would you all like us to go ahead and start reading our first item of new business? Patrick?
I think I wanted to give opportunity to our guest here, Dr. Will Simpkins, maybe see if he wants to give any updates or maybe wants anything that can enlighten us. Do you think, would you be open to that, Dr. Simpkins?
Sure.
That'd
Do
be
you want me
great.
to vamp for a little bit?
I would love that.
Okay, sounds good. I've got the questions. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the new year. This is my second time with you, right?
Yes.
I think so. I can't count anymore. My brain hurts. How your brain's doing? Mostly together?
Yeah.
Mostly.
Okay, I think we're on week 8 of the semester, which feels crazy. I don't know where September went. So I looked at the questions that you all had provided for Dr. Davidson. So I'm going to stay away from that so that she can talk about that with you. And I'm sticking around too. But I'll just give you, what are we working on? What are some of the conversations that we're having as a university? A lot of construction projects happening. You've hopefully seen them by now. There'll be a big crane showing up in the next couple of weeks that the president is very excited about and has asked to drive it. And the construction company said no, but I think they are going to let her climb it because it's one of those big tower ones. I don't want to do that myself. So lots of construction. The Health Institute Tower, which is over at coming off of West Classroom Building, will be the next one to break ground. And then we'll have 3 new buildings going up at the same time. In addition, the event center, there's lots of work already going on over there, and the renovation of the pool, I would say, will start in early 2026. So really exciting, some great new spaces for the campus. I also want to say just some appreciation to everybody for what you've done. I don't know if anybody else is feeling this, but campus just feels more alive than in the last, ever than I've been here in the last 7 years. And there was a big, nasty global pandemic in the middle of that. But just the vibe on campus is great. Seeing students walking around. I've seen your tables out. I've seen just so many activities happening and lots of participation and attendance. And so it's making me really excited for the work CMEI is doing, the work that you're doing, the work our student organization's doing. And it makes me really happy to see folks coming back to the Aurora campus. The president will probably talk about some budget things. The short story is you may have heard that the state had to cut budgets for this fiscal year, the one we are currently in. MSU Denver realized or was given about a $800,000 cut to our state appropriation. We were able to weather that without having to cut any of our programs or services because our enrollment came in so strong this year. So we're almost 4% up overall. And that's really being driven by a couple things. One, retention. So Patrick, for that committee you were on last year, the Student Success Launch, I think the initiatives that folks have been investing in, the work that you've done, that CMEI has done to make this campus a more appealing place to stick around, and the work we're all doing to support you students is paying off. We have record first-year retention this year. It's the highest it's ever been, which is really cool. The second is recruitment of new students. So our high school students, those coming right out of high school, strongest in a long time. We're almost 10% up there, which is huge, right? That's like 300 students. So we're really excited about that. The second group is our concurrent enrollment. So getting more, many of you probably took concurrent or dual enrollment in high school. So it's students taking MSU Denver courses while they're in high school. So enrollment really good, meant that we could essentially eat the budget cut without any of our programs or services having to have their budgets cuts, which was really exciting. But it's going to be a hard few years looking forward. So this is the time of year where the state starts its budget process for the next fiscal year. There has been one revenue forecast already given to the Joint Budget Committee. And so for those of you who are on SAB, pay attention to this, but I hope all of you will, and you have a seat on the up back, I believe, right? Cynthia, Matthew, okay. So, you know, it goes from the state revenue forecast, then the next step is the governor submits his budget, then the legislature has a series of hearings. Dr. Davidson always goes up and testifies in front of the legislature about our needs. And then sometime in February, we get a sense of what they're looking at. Given the revenue forecast and what the federal cuts have done, I think it just means we're all going to have to be really smart. And here's my boss. Did I vamp long enough, Sky?
You did great.
Perfect. Great.
Hello.
Good.
Thank you so much, Dr. Simpkins.
Yeah, thanks. And I know that a number of you have signed up to serve on our strategic planning working groups. If that's you, raise your hand just so I can make sure I know who you are. Perfect. So the work we did with Patrick last year, so impactful on that student success launch, talked about so many things, and that work just continues. So thanks to those of you who are going to participate on those working groups. I think it's going to be really important and great work.
Amazing. Thank you. I do want to pass it off to Dr. Davidson.
Hi,
Hello.
Hello.
how's everybody doing?
Well.
You again? So it's October 2nd, moving into midterms. How's everybody feeling?
They're feeling better than I am.
Are you still feeling the crowd?
No, I'm just tired.
You don't have the congestion
I don't
anymore?
think so.
I do.
Oh.
We both got sick on a trip last week and I sound worse than I feel, but it's kind of a pain. All right. So what do you want to talk about? Midterms.
Oh.
Talk about midterms? No? Yeah, I want to talk about
Just
what are you looking forward to this semester and the rest of the semester?
looking forward to acing all my classes.
Acing?
Yes,
And you plan to ace your classes.
I'm planning,
Yeah.
yes, but I will definitely
Yeah.
achieve that. Every
That's the right
semester I've done that.
Got to plan for it, and then it
Yes.
happens.
I do, thank you again for being here, Dr. Davidson.
Sure.
I do have some concerns about like what the funding cut means for MSU Denver and, you know, all the students. Just trying to get some more clarity.
Sure.
Yeah.
Which funding cut?
Ooh.
So
I was talking about the state budget
yeah,
when you walked.
no, yeah, okay. Yeah, so, the state budget. The state of Colorado is not the best funded higher education system in the country. But we do pretty darn well with what we have. And I'm pretty proud of what happens here at MSU Denver. You know, we don't waste money on things. You know, we put all power to the engines, and the engines for MSU Denver are our students, right? I mean, if you ask any faculty or staff member what my 3 priorities are, they will say students, students, and students. Now, I make sure that our faculty and staff have what they need to serve our students, and that's where the funding comes in. And so we're in an okay place right now. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's probably what you said. We're looking ahead. So the reason why our budget wasn't what we wanted it to be was because the federal government made a bunch of cuts and it had a ripple effect into the state budget. So the state, did you already tell them all this? So the state had a special session over the summer and they tried to find ways to reduce the budget that they'd already approved. You know, the fiscal year goes from July 1st all the way back to July 1st. So they'd already approved all this budget and we were all ready to go. And then In August, they clawed back money across the state. And what happened at MSU Denver was they clawed back about $800,000.
That's the number I said too.
Yeah, good. See, happens to be true. Fortunately, we had budgeted at a number that was below that. So we were able to not have to cut anything. But that doesn't mean that it didn't hurt, because we would have used that money for other things, like potentially hiring more student or more advisors to advise you, putting things into programs, but and just becoming overall, healthier in certain ways. So it was not great, but it did not crush us, if you will. But as we look forward to next semester, we're concerned. We don't know but this happens every year. I mean, every year we have this like pucker factor, as we move into the legislative session. And I mean, the way it works is, there's prognostication. People are trying to read the tea leaves, and you don't know what the budget's going to be, because the money comes into the state from tax revenue, and you don't necessarily know what it's going to be every year. And so the economists all look in their crystal balls and they make predictions, and they usually get fairly close. But this year there's a lot of angst because of the federal cuts. So the people don't understand. How many political scientists do we have in the room, right? So people don't actually understand how much the federal government actually does, right? I mean, you ever look at the weather app on your phone? I mean, that's government data. You drive on the roads. A lot of them are funded by the Fed, especially the interstate highways, healthcare, mental health services. You think they're funded by some nonprofit. They're actually funded by a federal grant. You think they're funded by the state. It's actually a pass-through from the federal government. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And I think a lot of people are pretty shocked. There were people actually. I have a friend who is the head of human services for the state of Colorado, and she went around talking to the county commissioners out in the rural areas. These are basically like the mayors of these areas, and laid out for them all the cuts that were coming from the federal government. And they were like, well, that's the Fed. This stuff is funded by the state. She's like, no, it's funded by the Fed. It goes through the state. Like, you should know that. You're like the mayor, right? So people not understanding how the government works is not great, which is why I applaud all of you for being in student government, because it's not as easy as it looks. So the short answer is we don't know, but we know that the budget for next year will be either flat or worse than it is this year. And also it will be compounded by inflation, and it will be compounded by rising healthcare costs, which is also a result of the government actions in Washington. Our healthcare costs might go up like 10%. And that puts a strain on our budget, because we have to spread that out and help our organization with that too. So, but I feel like MSU Denver is still in a fairly strong position. So we have done, we're sort of future-proofing the university with things like being more efficient with the way we schedule our classes, being more efficient with the way we utilize our faculty and our staff, being, cutting out things that we, didn't know we were doing. In some cases, you have some office has a contract here and then there's a similar one over here. And so we're combining those sorts of things. So there's a big effort going on in the budget office to find those sorts of efficiencies across the university. When it comes to cutting things, that'll be a different story if we have to do things like that. And the way we will approach that is by taking a look at like our core mission, which is serving our students, and our values. And we won't skimp on those things. And we also, future-proofing, also putting money into reserves also has helped, and being healthier in terms of our retention and enrollment. So can't give you exact answers, but I would say that we are watching it. Yeah.
Hello, and again, thank you for attending. and
Sure.
Giving us your time. Continue with the budget discussion. A lot of like student orgs have felt the, you know, the
Pressure.
yeah, with like student travel and
Mhm.
Dave Barasa and the money that he was able to provide, but now is, you know, severely less,
Yeah.
I guess. And I just would like to hear your thoughts.
Go ahead.
So I just want to make sure everybody knows what happened with student travel. During the pandemic, when the HERF dollars through was it 3 bills that gave us dollars?
Yeah.
Came through, we were able to pad different parts of the university with dollars and really invest to try to, we called it the stuff that works, right? Put more money into things that we know have a positive impact. That money has now expired. And so it's not that that the student travel budget has been cut. It's just that it's going back to pre-pandemic levels. So it feels like a cut because we can't fund as many students. And like the president said, inflation, costs are going up.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've booked an airline ticket lately, you know things are nuts. So Dave is working with a group of faculty on what we're going to be able to do in the student travel project. For those of you who are on SAB, know that the entire student travel budget comes through the student affairs fee. And so that's the fee that the Student Affairs Board makes recommendations to the Board of Trustees on how those funds should be allocated. And so as you get into that process, looking for fiscal year 27, which should start relatively soon, right? The SAB process, I think, ish, yeah. That you have a voice there. And that's an opportunity for you to talk about where you want your student fee dollars to be invested. I'll also say that when you, the students, created the student travel fee fund probably 10 years ago now, it was really narrowly defined to students who were going to pre-professional conferences, who are presenting research. It has expanded over the years to include things like graduate preparation exams, praxis exams for our student teachers, student org travel, things like the debate team. So as you have organizations that might be struggling, we definitely don't want them to not ask. We want them to ask. And so if there's a team, you know, if I remember one year, I think the hockey team from Campus Rec was going to the national playoffs. We don't want them to not do that. We will look and try to find resources to support them in other ways.
All right.
Good. So I'll follow up. So being on the SAP board last year, a big reason why we didn't want we did give we split our surplus that we had, which was like a couple $100 to like SAB and Met Media, or it's not SAB, sorry, to student travel and Met Media, with the knowledge that that roll forward is gonna be was really mentioned on of how student travel was really supported on that. However, you're saying that roll forward, like that money expired, or
Basically, it's like one-time money.
Yeah, we've used it all.
we just used it all?
Yeah.
Okay. Now that's just my clarification.
Okay.
This is tangential to the budget conversation that we were just having. But part of the reason that I joined the strategic planning committee, and since you're here, I want to ask you this question as well, is I was just curious, where do you see the university in its place over these coming years when things feel so uncertain for so many people?
Where do I see the university? I'm optimistic about this university. I say it all the time that we are the third largest university in the state of Colorado, and we're the most important. Our brand is rising, if you will, if you use that kind of language, but people actually are really understanding how the high quality education that we supply here to the community, the fact that we actually focus on trying to get students into vibrant careers, that they that also we serve more Coloradans than any other state. So as long as there's a serious demand for this university, which I think there is, it's gonna stay, right? And so I also feel like we are focused on the things that the state needs. You know, they in certain areas. I mean, I don't know what all your majors are, but you know what healthcare. How many people are majoring in something associated with healthcare or social work or education? I mean, these are huge needs in the state, and so the state of Colorado is going to find a way because they have to. And again, you know, I was heartened by the trip we were on last week with business and community leaders really waking up to the fact that, you know, this university in particular, but higher ed in general, needs to be supported. And, you know, to partner with the university to provide scholarships for students to help us, you know, make sure that what we're teaching is relevant and ready. I think all of that is super important. I mean, so, you know, I sense a lot of catastrophizing these days. And I mean, there's plenty of things to catastrophize about, but MSU Denver is not one of them. What about state funding?
Yeah.
Huh. How we've changed it? Yeah, you know, we have a lot to be proud of. I mean, you know, I got here 8 years ago. Will got here 7 years ago. When I got here, we had a $7 million endowment with an M. We now have about a $30 million endowment, and we're at $96 million towards our $100 million fundraising campaign. Not all the money that you raise goes to the endowment, but that's huge. We had no fundraising game whatsoever. And that strengthens the bones of the university because it allows the university to offset costs for students, which allows us to put resources into other things. We didn't have that kind of money before. The other thing is the state had this funding formula that, for whatever historic reason that I can't explain, basically had MSU Denver getting half the amount of money from the state per student than the average in the state. So you look at all the universities, you know, including the community colleges, CU, CSU, UNC, Mesa, and all of them, and they were getting whatever, you know, let's say $5,000 per student from the state as an allocation. Actually, it's higher than it was. We were getting $2,500. I mean, like, seriously unacceptable. And so we called them on it. And we said, you know, we did the math. And well, first of all, this is bogus. We did the math, and this gap between what MSU Denver gets from the state and what the average is about $50 million a year. It's probably more like 60 now. And we need the state to make that right before they do anything else, before they fund anybody else. And they were like, what? I said, well, you know, we understand you can't just fork over 50 million in 1 year because that's a lot. And frankly, it's a lot to swallow and like to just absorb. So we'll take $10 million a year for 5 years. Thank you very much. And they thought we were crazy, but we did it. And now we are level. That's a huge, huge accomplishment. And, you know, people like Casey Gerhardt and our board of trustees and everybody and students that have come with us up to the state capitol to talk about the impact that MSU Denver has in the community, in students' lives, and in the state, in our economy. People noticed. And so the state has invested in MSU Denver in ways that they had not invested before. And just as we go into this, you know, where everybody's going to feel a little bit of a crunch because of the state budget, know that MSU Denver is valued greatly by the state, the government, and the business community, which I think is really important. And I know by you and our alums. So I think that's a good story.
And I'll brag on my boss real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. You know, not only did she say it was unacceptable, like the act of the president going before the state legislature and actually naming that discrepancy, and then showcasing MSU Denver's values and who we serve, that we serve more Coloradans than any other institution, more Coloradans of color than any other institution, more first-gen students than any other institution. I mean, you called it what it was, working students. And I think there was a moment of bravery that is part of our culture. And
Yeah.
like that sort of leadership, I think is why MSU Denver is.
Well, thank you.
Is solid. Yeah. Can I have that raise now?
Yeah.
I'm gonna add myself to the stack.
Go for it.
I want to ask, I know a lot of what we've talked about has sort of been about federal impacts and federal changes. Other than budget, what are some of the higher level federal policy impacts we're going to be facing?
Yeah.
Especially as it relates to like protecting immigrant students and undocumented students.
Okay, so that's a great question. You know, you read the headlines and higher education is kind of under attack by this administration. I mean, that's the headline. And they are really focused on the elite Ivy League schools and a handful of others like, you know, Berkeley or Michigan or, you know, some of these UVA, they managed to get the president fired there. This is unprecedented. It's really, really bad. And what it is it's government intrusion into free speech. Academic freedom is free speech. And so Harvard pushed back, but other universities are not pushing back. And part of the reason they're not pushing back is because they get an immense amount of money from the federal government. So good news, bad news for MSU Denver. The bad news first. We don't get a lot of money from the federal government. Why? Because we're not a research institution, right? We do some research and some of those funds are at risk. But the leverage that the administration is using against these universities is they're saying, we want you to do this and this and this and this. We want you to teach this. We want you to say this. We want you to fire this. We want you to do this. Basically, and if you don't do those things, you will put your federal dollars at risk. Now we're talking about places like MIT and Berkeley and UCLA and, you know, these major research institutions that get billions of dollars from the federal government. Now, I want you to understand, those billions of dollars are not a handout. There's history here. Those billions of dollars are sent to these universities to fund things like cancer research, like all kinds of things, all kinds of research that affects your life. Basic research that the private sector won't do. And after World War II, the United States decided that they were going to be number one in basic science and research. They just decided it. And instead of creating just a bunch of government labs, my nephew works at a government lab, and there are some of those out there. And they decided that they would try to leverage the genius of the entire nation. And the way they would do it was by partnering, not handing out, but partnering with universities all over the country. And the way they did it was, whether it's the National Science Foundation or the National Institutes of Health or, you know, whatever, give me some other ones, humanities, they would have certain amounts of money every year, and they would give grants, and they would have people compete for those grants. And so you have places like MIT that are doing, like, let's say, medical research that require really complex laboratory equipment. So over the years, they have built these labs, they've built this infrastructure in order to do the work of the American people in partnership with the government. And this administration, I don't care what your politics are, this is just the facts. This administration has said and painted as though it's a handout, right? So people think, oh, these fat cat universities. So I have nothing against Harvard and Stanford. They do amazing things for us. I mean, I don't know, antibiotics to, you know, cell phones. Like, we wouldn't have any of this stuff because the private sector doesn't do the basic science. Basic science is stuff like crazy, wacky questions that nobody else will answer and that might not go anywhere. The government funds that stuff. And then every once in a while you hit gold. You figure out, you discover penicillin because you just made a mistake or something, right? And then the private sector then can leverage that into things like voice activation on your cell phone. Classic example, the Navy paid for that. The Navy spends tons of money on basic science research, on things like voice recognition software and weather and things that happen, help your daily life, not just weapons, all that kind of stuff. And then it gets spilled into the private sector. So it's a little bit of a political science lesson for you, but that's the money that they're saying to all these schools that they're not going to have anymore. Now, if you are Stanford or MIT and you got to pay for this infrastructure that you built in service to the American people, and now all of a sudden you don't have that money, you're in trouble. Plus, it's now become lots of people have jobs, lots of things are happening, and so they're panicking. But back here at MSU Denver, good news, bad news, we don't get a lot of money from the Fed. So they don't have a lot of leverage over us, which is precisely why we decided when all that edict came down about DEI and all those other things, we decided not to move a butt cheek to comply because it's not illegal and we weren't going to do it. So that's the kind of thing that you can expect. Now on the immigration front, I worry about that. A lot of those schools have lots and lots of international students as an adjacent issue set. But with our, we will continue to make sure that we can support all our immigrant students, like 100% through our immigrant services. Gregor does an amazing job. We have a community of donors and trustees and community leaders that also care and help, and we leverage that as well. But, I can't change the law. I was in a meeting yesterday with the mayor, a very small meeting where we talked a lot about ICE. And he said that ICE has not gone into schools, hospitals, or churches. They do their raids on construction sites and they set up checkpoints. And then just so you know, also, they can't do a lot of things that they do, that you see them doing on TV, without the local police helping them. So the mayor was he was telling me the story. He was in Washington, D.C., and he and his daughter, literally like this far away from here to the wall, saw ICE come in a D.C. cop car, jump out and arrest a DoorDash driver, and then throw his bicycle in a truck that was behind, and then go up onto the next, and like arrest the guy, put him in another thing, and then go on to like the next thing. And the mayor was like, oh my God. Like the DC police are collaborating with ICE. We're not going to do that in Denver. And so that was kind of heartening to me because he's kind of like holding the line there, and he doesn't have to, And so I know a lot of people worry about ICE coming to campus, and we've talked about this before. Number one, I think it's very unlikely, but even if they did, they can't, our education campaign and messaging campaign is like, listen, they're like vampires, they're not allowed to come in unless they're invited. So they're not allowed to come in the door without a warrant. And so if they show up, immediately call our police. Our police are the good guys on this campus, or the general counsel, or if you don't know who to call Will, I don't know, but we'll figure it out. But do not let them in. You are not the person to decide whether that warrant is adequate, right, or viable. So I don't know if that helps any. It's a long answer to your question because there's a lot going on from the federal government.
Yeah, the only small follow-up, and then I'll move on to someone else, is what are some of the things that either you in your position or MSU has done for this, and either preemptive policy or what have we done so far?
What have we done so far? Well, I think a couple things. The first thing that we've done is we've not done anything to comply. That's a big deal. Like I am in calls all the time with my colleagues across the country, and we're fortunate because we're in a blue state. We're fortunate because our trustees support my stance on that. And we're not getting pressure from our legislature or our governor to do the kinds of things that my colleagues in places like Texas and Florida have been told to do. If we were a university in San Antonio, Texas, we would be, have told that we had to shut down our DEI programs, fire certain people, and if we don't do it, we'll get fired, and that's happening. And we're not doing that. So we're lucky, but we're also defiant because there's some people in Colorado that have done some compliance like that way. So I'm a political scientist, and I'll tell you that preemptive compliance is exactly how this kind of cascades. So there's no law that says we have to do any of that. And as long as there's no law, we're not going to do it even then. So we'll fight it. Second thing we've done is, and you don't see a lot of this, but we are really actively engaged in a lot of, national things like, well, the Ask You groups that are advocating on the Hill all the time, the American Association of State Colleges and Universities. I'm on the government board, and they're on Capitol Hill all the time trying to advocate when they're passing the big bogus bill, big beautiful bill. They were up there advocating for Pell and all the things on the docket for education, and they had some pretty serious wins. So we helped on that. And then we're in a thing called the President's Alliance. And the President's Alliance is something that started, I think, in like 2017. And it was set up to support undocumented students, and it's national. And there were like 17 people that joined in the beginning. We were some of the first, very, very first. And now there's like hundreds of schools that are part of this alliance. And they basically are focused like a laser on the immigration issue, international students and undocumented students. And I'll tell you, our general counsel is one of the leaders in that group. And they recently helped file a lawsuit in support of, this was an interesting, did you see that thing that David sent around? So the lawsuit was for a student that got arrested and was going to be deported, right, for protesting. And we signed on the amicus brief in that. And the ruling just came out yesterday, and it was amazing. You should send it around. Send it around to the students. For those of you political scientists, it's a 160-page brief from a federal judge that was appointed back in the Reagan era. And he is just 100% on the side of this immigrant. Like, no, because they were trying to make the case. I was kind of trying to read through it last night. I'm not a lawyer, but I was like, they were trying to make the case that that the non-American did not have the same kind of freedom of speech rights as Americans. So it was a huge deal. Yeah. So I think David's pretty proud of that, actually. So those are the kinds of things that we've been trying to do in addition to, but what we don't do also is we don't stand up and beat our chest, because we don't want to put a target on our back, right?
Yeah. Can I give a couple more specifics?
Yeah, give a couple more.
So just specifically on immigration, detention, ICE issues. So one, I know you all were really supportive of the new protocols around JSB, SSB badge access that we worked on last year. So we do have that in place. And just a reminder, if anyone thinks that there's an immigration action happening on campus, they should call general counsel or ACPD. You should all have the ACPD phone number in your phone. I actually don't know what it is. It's not 911, it's something else.
It's whatever's in my phone.
Yeah, it's in the, I think so.
Well, I can tell you what it is.
If the ACPD confirms that there is an action happening, they then call our facilities office, and our facilities office turns on the badge access on the front doors of this building and the King Center, and there's one other. So we do have that in place. The second is Gregor and Connie Sanders, our university registrar, are working on a document that basically outlines all of the policies that already exist, that if a student were to be detained, would support them. So things like class flexibility, whatever you might need in that scenario, it's a full compendium. And I do think that they're prepping to take that to the undocumented student network that Gregor is connected with. Oh, 5 minutes?
No,
Oh, okay. All right.
I have a question for the students.
All right. There's also money and resources in immigrant services and connections to community-based organizations. And so our connections to legal support, whether through advising or actually trying to get somebody to do it. The last thing I just want to say is in talking with some of our colleagues who have been dealing with this issue, The Colorado congressional delegation are extraordinarily organized. And so in a couple of instances that I'm aware of out in the community where someone has been detained, staff from our congressional offices or so Senate or House are actually visiting the centers every day and making sure that folks have access to information, that they are not signing self-deportation documents without legal counsel or support. And so we feel really good about the resources that exist in Colorado, that if this happens, we know what resources that we would tap into.
You had a question for us?
Yeah, my question is, what would you do if you were me on that issue
Ooh.
or anything, or that I'm not already doing?
I don't want to conversate back and forth if there's other folks with questions
Well,
for me,
anybody
but if
can
someone else
answer
wants
that.
to answer that, feel
Anybody can
free.
answer that
But I've talked a
question.
lot, so I don't want to. Will?
I mean, I don't have a direct answer for the immigration issues, but I do have a potential idea.
Yeah.
We are talking about different partnerships nationally, correct? But what about a partnership more local, or not local, but state partnerships? Like a type of mutual defense pact among Colorado's colleges and universities. I know there's a lot of potential issues with that, but I think there could be a lot to be gained from that, especially if all the universities in Colorado are operating under the same state laws. And I'm sure there could be some good stuff that could come from an idea like that, but I
What
don't
would
know.
what would the defense pact be about?
It would be something along the lines of, let's see, I have a few notes here.
Just yesterday, was it yesterday where they issued a sent out, oh, I know what they did. The pledge. They sent out a pledge to a bunch of elite universities, making them sign on to a bunch of stuff like, anti-DEI and I don't know what else, but a lot of those schools have the issue because of admissions, right? They don't want to have race-based admissions and all that stuff. And an overt threat of taking their funding. And I just feel like a lot of those schools need to band together and be like, no, we're not going to, I mean, this is a pact, right? You either sign it or you don't sign it. Like there's a thing to have a pact about, right? So what would it be?
So to further answer that question, joining financial, legal, and lobbying resources for the state. But I don't know if that's something that's been considered.
You mean with respect to like state funding?
Yeah, state funding
Yeah, we do
or
that every year.
anything.
Yeah,
Any type of federal blitz, pretty much.
for a federal blitz, yeah.
Not like a assault on higher education, specifically in Colorado.
So like a statement that says, you're not gonna,
Maybe not a statement so much, but maybe a fund, but I don't know how that would work. Yeah, I don't know.
well,
Just an idea,
yeah. So
reaching out.
at the state level, it's really about the legislative game, and we band together every year. We write a letter, we do all the things, at the national level where the threat really is coming from. We're involved in the national organizations, us and our Colorado partners. So yeah, let's open for ideas there. Yeah, go ahead. Whoever's next.
I want to hear Matt and Faye's questions and then go back to them. So let's go to Matt first.
So this is in kind of relation to actually an opinion article that I saw in the Colorado Sun on the 25th. That was actually put forth. Here I'm trying to find the authors really quick. By Aaron Schneider of Denver. He is a block chair and professor of international studies at DU. And Steve Mame of Fort Collins is an emeritus professor of the Colorado State University Department of Political Science. They did an opinion about Colorado colleges and universities need collective action to fight Trump's administrative policies. With the tagline, schools are getting attacked individually, but a mutual defense would help university officials respond.
I'd like to see.
And I
exactly
could
what,
forward
though.
this article
I mean,
too.
Yeah, forward it. That'd be great. Because I thought about that, but then I'm kind of like, what is the thing that we say? And what does it do? Or do you have a behind the scenes pact so you don't draw fire?
As far as you've mentioned earlier, like ways that other universities are coming under fire, and the thing that or that came to mind for me is the investigations that came about after the encampments a year and a half ago now, and how those are being levied at universities. So I was just curious if there's any anxiety or any thought about those ongoing investigations within like the circles that you run
In Colorado?
in Colorado, the ones specifically about like the Auraria campus.
Yeah, there's a lot of, they're doing those hearings or something. Yeah. And on the Auraria campus, I think the issue is about how the Denver police responded. And I think they're looking into that. So it'll be interesting to see where they come out there. I was not in favor of what happened the first couple of days, as you guys know, but yeah, I think that's what they're looking at. But what they really care about is anti-Semitism. So there's that too. So there's on the one side, there's this presumption that there's all this anti-Semitism on this campus. Do you guys see a lot of anti-Semitism on the campus? Right. We don't see a lot of anti-Semitism on this campus. And then on the other side, there's the pro-Palestinian right to protest, which we also support, peaceful, non-destructive right to protest. Not happy about encampments, but you can protest all you want. I'd like to see dialogue. So I'd like to see. So you have one side that cares about this, the other side that cares about that. And so universities end up getting in the middle of that. And so it gets a little tricky. And there are, the other thing is like, there are all these headlines. So let's take the anti-Semitism piece. There's all these headlines out there about anti-Semitism happening on college campuses. It's not happening on this campus. That said, if you were Jewish, you might feel a little anxious because you think that there is actually a heightened level of anti-Semitism in America right now. And so people will come to us and they'll be like, what are you doing about anti-Semitism on your campus? And like, well, it's not happening on our campus. So it's not really happening on our campus, but for our Jewish students, like for any other group of students who are feeling anxious about things that are happening in the news, we'll reach out to them and we'll help them through those sorts of things. So there's that. That's another area. So that issue is still swirling, but it's swirling in lots of different ways. What are you hearing? What are you hearing about all that?
I would just know some of the folks that were like going and testifying at those, and like providing their testimony. So I was just kind of curious, like where you and your position within the university, like what you had heard and like if there was any anxiety around that, because I know like the people that I know that went and testified and like tried to organize around this were definitely feeling some of that anxiety of like, what is this going to mean? And like, how does this turn out?
Yeah, we're not sure. We were called to testify, and our general counsel testified about how we approached the encampments last year, and we didn't hear anything back. I'm not sure they're that organized. I think they're fishing for something that they're not finding. Like I think they think something more horrible that went on, and that there's something else happening.
Zero intent.
There you go.
Just click your microphone.
I guess first, real quick, thank you so much for being here. Also, you had mentioned about the police actions that were taken on this campus. So I guess I just wanted to bring up to ask you with the increased demands on repression of free speech that we're seeing from the current administration in power, as well as the overall pattern of increased militarization of police departments across the country, as well as the plans to expand the campus safety center here on campus and expand the police force. I guess I'm just wondering what MSU is doing to sort of push back on the trends on like the increasing patterns and demands of police violence against freedom of speech.
Yeah. So a couple of things. Number one, the free speech, the anti-free speech thing is a real problem to me because I'm a big free speech advocate. Number two, the militarization of the police is worse than you think. It's what worries me is the activation of the National Guard in American cities. And worse than that would be the activation of the deployment of the actual active military in cities, which has only almost sort of happened in Los Angeles so far with the Marines. I'm a civil military expert. That was what I used to do, you guys. So I know this stuff. I know the law, and it's not, you do not want the military in your streets. Okay. As for this campus, our police are, they're like park police. They're like aligned with our mission, and they are not the same as the Denver police. And it was the Denver police that did the protests. And as for the safety center, I am 100% in support of that building being built for a number of reasons. Number one, it will also house our criminal justice programs, which study the kinds of things that you're talking about. You know, the militarization of the police, you know, correct behavior of the police. They educate police so that they don't become the bad guys, so that they become the good guys. So our criminal justice departments in MSU Denver, CU Denver, and CCD will all be housed in there, and there will be better facilities for all students to use. On the other side of the building, there will be better facilities for our area police. And if you've had the privilege of being arrested, which I hope none of you have, in that particular place, it's not good. Their facilities are completely subpar, and they can't do what they need to do. And they keep us safe. We live in an urban environment, and we need police that love us, not other kinds of police. And that's what we have. And having them in the building with students will make that relationship that some people worry about even better, in my opinion. I know not everybody believes me or agrees with me, but that's how I feel, and I 100% in support. And I hope that when that building opens, you'll have an opportunity to, to tour it. And if you have friends who are in the criminal justice department, I think it can only help that they'll be in the building with those, kind of keeping the check on and having those conversations. I think it'll be better.
Okay, I'm gonna go to Emma first.
Hi. I want to apologize. I'm not in person. I am quite sick. I don't want to get you guys sick. I did want to ask kind of an additional question with that. I know a lot of students are having a lot of concerns about the rises in like gun violence, especially with the recent shooting on a school campus, college campus specifically. What are you guys doing as a university or putting out statements? And I guess this is then related to that safety center as well.
Yeah. So there's two parts to that question. There's the sort of when do I put out statements? And we have a pretty basic protocol about when I mouth off as a president and when I do not. And, I can mouth off as Janine, and so can you guys, but I'm not going to mouth off as the president. But I will often make statements if there are events in the news that affect our community or affect our campus. And a school shooting in Evergreen is one of those where you make a point. But when something like that happens, you may not see it all, but like people that are affected, like we know which faculty and staff members have students and kids in the area, and we reach out for, mental health and a lot of those things. with respect to gun violence in general, I just find it an absolute tragedy in this country that we have these shootings. Again, you should be happy about the Auraria police on this campus. They are plugged in to the community of responders that know what to do when it happens. They have trainings on this, and they have trainings for faculty, staff, and students that they offer all the time, and they don't get enough people taking them, and they wish that they did. And so we just had a briefing from them the other day after the Evergreen shootings to make sure that we're all sharp on, you know, what the procedures are. And so I can't express how sad that this gun violence in this country makes me. And all I can do is try to keep this campus as safe as it is and as prepared as it can be. And other than that, I don't know. What do you think, Will?
There's a lot that you don't see, you know, when we have big events.
For sure. Oh, yeah.
The safety precautions that we put in place, commencement.
Oh,
is a
commencement.
great
Commencement's
example, right?
very safe.
So I think you should feel really safe on this campus. We're in a position where we see a lot of incident reports come through. And when there is something on this campus, it's often not one of our community members. It's someone who's coming off the light rail or who has walked onto campus. But I've been really proud of the way, particularly the chief of ACPD will call us in and make sure we know what's going on. They work really closely with the care center and our counseling center to make sure that we're able to support the community. But if you ever notice when you're in a classroom, when you're in an elevator, there'll be a sign that has, you know, different safety protocols on them. If there's a tornado, if there's we don't get hurricanes here, if there's an earthquake, and if there's an active shooter situation. And so I just really encourage you, read that active shooter protocol. Lots of you went to school, sadly, after you and I did, where you've been in those fight, flight, or run. Is that what it is? We were stop, drop, and roll. Fire. We got fire and nuclear. Y'all got shooters. And that says a lot about our country. But make sure you're reading that.
Run, hide, fight.
Run, hide, fight, right. Know what to do in the rooms where you are.
I want to invite people who have not said anything yet if they want to before I go to people. Irvi?
Hello, President Davidson. Thank you for coming here.
Sure.
I want to go back to the immigration policies. So you mentioned that you have been working on a lot of immigration policies that ICE can protect. Like ICE, we have protection from ICE, but there has been some uncertainties about student visas who are on OPT and CPT visas. So how is MSU Denver handling that situation with federal policies?
I'm not sure about the visa situation. I mean, the latest. Do you have the latest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So first of all, are you an international student?
I am gonna be international student next year.
Okay, got
Next
it.
semester.
So get to know Ash Lance in the Office of the Registrar. So we have about 100 international students at MSU Denver. Ash is the, I think, Assistant Registrar for International Student Support. So Ash and I can't remember his colleague's name. They work with all students on their visas. Yes, on all the visas, right? And so, for instance, when we get word that a policy shift might happen, Lance's team immediately communicates with whatever information that we have. And typically before he does that, he checks with our general counsel, he checks with the police department, like whoever needs to be connected with to make sure we're understanding the policies. As of right now, we have not had any students impacted by any of the changes or faculty and staff with the
That's right.
HB1, H1B.
H1B.
H1B. So we monitor it really closely. We know exactly who our international students and faculty are and exactly what visas are on in situations. And that includes a lot of our asylee students would not be through international student services. They'd be in the immigrant services area, but we also know who they are so that we can reach out to them if something happens. So make sure you're friends with Ash.
Does that help?
I'm actually friends with Ash.
That's good.
Tell him I said nice things about him behind his back.
Are there any folks who have not gotten to ask a question or talk to Dr. Davidson yet that would like to? Okay, I'll open it back up to anyone now. Will, did you? Or yeah, Will, go ahead.
Okay, last question, promise. Going back to the active shooter scenarios and all of that unfortunate things that are happening in our country right now and been happening for a while. I've noticed that we've done fire drills, but we don't really do any active shooter drills on campus. I don't know if that's an area thing or is that an APD thing? Is that a higher administration?
Did you do them in high school, like an actual drill?
I did one
What was
at
it
East.
like?
They just kind of close the doors and make sure that we get away from the doors, that we're not within eyesight
Yeah.
from the door, hide, don't answer to any calls, right? Only a specific person lets you out, lets you know it's safe.
Yeah.
But
So I think
yeah.
that the area police, they do trainings, but they don't do like a massive fire drill kind of thing because it's a giant campus compared to a high school. But if you sign up for their trainings, you do their trainings, you might ask them that. The poor area police want everybody to take this training and people don't show up. So maybe the whole TSAC should go do it.
And I'll get you an answer on like what trainings do, not what trainings, what drills do we do and what drills don't we do?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Matt?
Also, how are they advertising? Because they can offer something, but if nobody knows, then it's kind of a
Put
moot
it all
point.
in those elevators, but it's a very good point. How are they
Do
advertising?
you read the runner?
Yeah. Do you read the runner? How should they
I
advertise?
don't know if I've gotten.
Can I just
one in
I
a
just
couple
like,
months.
We'll make sure that you get the runner, that you read the runner.
Well, and again, like I do have some awareness of what you're talking about. I've been on there. I've actually, because I'm also working with accountability. We have to do a safety training as part of my committee.
Mm.
So part of that is why I'm more aware. But again, you're also calling out a valid point of who reads it.
yeah.
So again, I'm going to restate my question. How are they advertising to actually reach people? Because if they can't reach people, then
You
The
know,
trainings
I
are
was
just
gonna
gonna stay
say,
sitting on
every
the shelf.
time we meet with you guys, it ends up coming back around to this horrible question of communication. And how many times have I said, leadership is all about communication and communication is the hardest thing. I mean, it is so hard. We feel like we're like broken records and people be like, what? Never heard of that before. So people don't eat till they're hungry. So what happens is whenever there's an incident, then we sort of try to get back out there. But it's really hard. I'm not gonna lie. It is really hard.
And I think
But any ideas you guys have?
Yeah,
We've had this
actually.
conversation before, like we had our comms team come in and talk to students, faculty and staff, like where do you get your information? Where do you look for information? I think the best way is through the classrooms. I mean, have the, professors, have I've advocated for this, like messages of the week or whatever, like old school. You got to go back to old school because there's too much flood of information, right? So
you will shortly or have already received the annual safety report that went out to all students. Great. Shortly. So that's
not the clarity report.
Yeah, it is. And it's great. Yeah, we'll talk later. So that's a really good resource because it includes the data on what has actually happened on campus, but also tons of really great resources about like prevention and what do we do here. It also includes things about the hazing policy, and there's a couple of others that are in there. But if one of your committees, particularly like your PR committee, wants to help us think about better ways to communicate around campus safety, we would love those ideas. Because we do know that safety in like our surveys of students who have applied to MSU Denver but don't come here, perceptions of campus safety because they're not from downtown Denver and what's going on in downtown Denver, it's always there.
Guys, I have to go. Gotta call it safe.
We are just a little bit over time. Is that Dr. Davidson saying you have to leave?
Yeah, I'll take one more. I mean, I already missed my 6 o'clock call, so hang on a second. I'm just gonna tell her I'll call in a minute.
I actually really wanted to follow up on an earlier point, if that's okay. I wanted to ask, I know you're not Colleen Walker.
Yes,
on
but I
the-
know her.
Yes, on the anti-Semitism question you brought up earlier, during those Colorado Commission things Faye was talking about, I heard Skip Spear come to those meetings during comment and say that there were a lot of reports of anti-Semitism over the last couple years. I haven't perceived that, and I'm hearing from you that you all haven't perceived
No,
that, and so
haven't perceived
I know you sit on ABOT and you're not Colleen, but I was wondering if you had any insight into why Auraria Campus is portraying that to the federal
I
government.
cannot speak to Skip Spears' testimony.
Okay, thank you.
I had some questions myself. Yeah.
So I have a question regarding, I know this would be more up to the dean of students, but in regards of the connection between the care center and the counseling center, in terms of administrative withdrawal, from my, to my knowledge of back in August, there really wasn't really a good communication of how the process is going to be with administrative withdrawal in the care center. You know, knowing the students and being myself a student, being involved with that process. Talking to the counselor, they don't know. They said send it to the care center. The care center says that we have to go to the admin building to have a discussion about that. So no one really knows. That's from back in late August, early September. There really wasn't really a knowledge of what's going on with the administrative withdrawals, especially when ones were being released during May. So I wanted to see if there was a clarification of the process of that. If students are still have to go to the counseling center or go to the care center to do that process, or is that something that we have to go somewhere else for?
This is.
Well, so administrative withdrawals are really rare. And it's when we withdraw you from classes, not you withdrawing yourself. Or it's like late withdrawal.
Is this in the context of the encampments?
No.
Oh, okay.
So I will talk to you offline and I'll want to hear a little bit more specifics. But it is housed actually in the registrar's office. So that's who actually processes them.
So
But
now he's been sent from.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Exactly.
You're gonna, yeah.
So we'll dig into it with you because I want to hear more.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, one more question because I gotta go.
Pretty quick question. I'm working on combating what I've heard called the Roadrunner runaround.
Hey.
Is that a conversation either of you would be interested in being roped into? I know your schedules are both
Let me
very,
tell you
very
something.
busy.
The Roadrunner runaround is one of my top issues this year. We're trying to turn the Roadrunner runaround into a Roadrunner runway.
Hey.
Every time we hear a story like that,
Yeah.
we got to do a process trace and find out what's going on. And we're going to try to incrementally fix these things. It's a huge deal.
Mhm.
It is a huge deal. I'm sick of it. I don't want to hear about it anymore. I want a culture of customer service that is like, we're going to fix this problem. It's a large bureaucracy, I'm not going to lie. And like any large bureaucracy, there's a lot of different pieces and parts. And what that means is that it's incumbent on faculty and staff to help the students navigate those pieces and parts. And then where there are processes that are, actually convoluted, fixing those processes. So I am thrilled to know that you're thinking about that because it is the students that need to, and also the staff senate has made it their number one goal for this semester too. So the students should be linked to the staff senate and they should be figuring it
They're
out.
already linked.
Okay, I love this. I love it. I love it.
You're the rep to staff senate.
Yeah, I am the rep to both staff and faculty senate and have set up a meeting with both the president and VP of both of those bodies to kind of start having these conversations.
Excellent.
So.
Listen, the students have to be, I'm so glad to hear that because students have to be the key part of this process. It's like, what is the thing we're trying to fix? Right. And sometimes, it's so easy to fix and nobody ever raised the issue. Nobody knew it was a problem. And so this could be really, really good. So thank you for your leadership on that.
Can we get a picture before we leave?
Absolutely.
All right, we got to hurry because I'm
All right.
already a half hour over.
So why don't we go back there? Are you feeling pretty?
I have to be in the back. That chair right there. Ready, sure. We got your 1, 2.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Is that still a thing?
Yeah. I had to climb. Yeah. Okay. I got to call the Thank you.
It's like, wait.
All right.
See you later. Are you going?
You went to your office.
You're gonna have to finish.
Thank you. Okay, we are back. I'm gonna pass it off to my co-chair to begin new business.
All righty, what time is it?
It is just about that time.
It's about that time.
6:23.
All righty. So starting with our new business, I'm gonna go with new business A, CRFA 2506, resolution to affirm SGT SAC's report for the ABOD vote initiative. I'm gonna give it away to Sire.
I can read that. Yes, I can. Okay. You ready? We all back? Okay. Resolution, as my colleague here, Patrick, has mentioned, resolution to affirm SGTSAC support for SACAB's and FACAB's effort to attain a vote on the Auraria Board of Directors through their representatives. Yeah, that word. The abstract. The SACAB and FACAB representatives are very important members of the Auraria Board. They represent the voices of students and faculty of MSU Denver, the Community College of Denver, and CU Denver. However, they do not possess the power to vote, thereby restricting the full potential of their representation. Thus, SGTSAC supports our SACAB and FACAB representatives in pushing this effort forward. Whereas, the SACAB and FACAB representatives to the Auraria Board are tasked with representing the voices of the students and faculty of MSU Denver, the Community College of Denver, and CU Denver to the Auraria Board of Directors. Whereas the ability of the SACAB and FACAB representatives to ABOD to fully represent the students and faculty voices is restricted because they do not possess the power to vote. Whereas at its September 18th, 2025 meeting, SGTSAC voted to formally endorse the SACAB initiative to gain a vote on ABOD for the representatives. Whereas formalizing the said endorsement through a resolution would strengthen the process of gaining said vote on the board. Therefore, be it resolved, SGTSAC adopts this resolution of support for SACABs and FACABs efforts to attain a vote on the Auraria Board of Directors through their representatives.
Thank you so much, Sai. Representatives. Yes. All right. If there's anyone that has any questions about it, I'm gonna let you guys just go Sai directly answer those questions. So I'm just gonna hand it off open the floor for that discussion.
Is it too late to add an endorsement?
Uh,
I'm trying to. I've been supporting something like this for like 2 years, so
okay.
and like part of SACAB. This was a big thing.
Accountability chair, what's?
Well, first point I was gonna make to you, Will, is you did vote on a resolution very much like this about 2 years ago, because we passed a resolution to also support this 2 years ago. We're just reinforcing it today with this resolution. And I'm 90% sure that your name was on that one, at least as an endorser, if not author on the previous guy.
I see no issue with adding someone as an endorser, which hasn't passed yet. So I think absolutely, right now we have a PDF in front of us, so on the final version, if it passes, it would say that, so.
Is that a,
Awesome.
thank you. Thank you, Matt.
Likewise, I would also like to ask if I could put endorsing on this as well.
Point of order. You now being an endorser, you cannot facilitate this discussion.
Even for endorsing, yes. I'll leave that. Let's forget about that till after. Then I'll remind you guys. Yes, no more technical difficulty.
A motion to approve to vote on this agenda to pass it.
I second.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All righty. I'd like to open up for discussion. If not, but we have motion to vote. So I'd like to proceed with that. We'll go unanimous voting, consent. So is there any opposition? Any abstentions? All righty. Seeing there's no opposition stances, the resolution passes. Congratulations. Good job. Congratulations, Ty and Rowan. All right, moving forward, we're going to go with CRFA 2504, resolution to add a Canva Pro and Bitly subscription by Susana Villagomez. I will be handing it off to Susana.
I'm presenting this. Who's the person presenting right now? Did you zoom in so we can see? Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks. Thank you.
sorry about that. I was trying to open it on my side. But this is a resolution to add a Canva Pro and Bitly subscription. And our abstract is the SGTSAC Public Relations Committee is responsible for promoting the initiative of events and resources to the MSU Denver student body. This resolution supports the Public Relations Committee in accessing the Canva Pro Bitly subscription to improve the quality and accessibility of digital and social media campaigns, ensuring effective communication and engagement with the campus community. Whereas Canva Pro offers advanced design tools, premium templates, enhanced sharing and collaboration options, sterilization tools like unlimited photos and streamlined workflows. Whereas obtaining a Canva Pro subscription will allow the Public Relations Committee to maintain brand and promote the graphics efficiently. Whereas Bitly is an online service that allows users to create short links, QR codes, and link page with small analytics and allows tracking of how many clicks, target interactions, and scans these tools to get, as well as allowing users to organize marketing campaigns in the same service as these tools. Whereas we need to maintain a Bitly subscription to the PR committee can understand the student engagement with our flyers, tabling efforts, and social media posts, using Bitly analytics tools to prove SGTSAC value with clear data will improve SGTSAC's case for increasing in our student affairs board authorization and demonstrating the number of students we are interacting with and what our organization does to improve the students' experience. Whereas making these purchases will further the mission of the PR committee by allowing us to better understand how the student body is interacting with our marketing materials so we can improve the student experience. Therefore, it will be resolved that the SGTSAC Public Relations Committee will spend $240 from its allocation to purchase the subscription, both Canva Pro and Bitly, to enhance the student body experience. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Susanna. I'm going to open the floor for discussion, beginning with Matt.
So per month for polled subscriptions, it's only $24 a month. Or
No, it's an annual subscription. So it will be like 120 per
Oh,
app. So it's 240. If I'm doing my math correctly. Okay.
Hey, I have a question regarding for last year, we did have Canva Pro. Did we have a yearly subscription to that one? So was that just, did that end? When did that end specifically? Sky?
That's complicated. It wasn't with our official MSU Denver email address, and so we actually lost access to it a lot before it ended. It would have ended on September 1st, though.
Sky?
That was kind of my question too. What have we been utilizing?
Well, I've been using my own Canva Pro within a different organization, and I have tried doing Adobe Express, but the only issue is that I have communicated with IT of fixing that accessibility for Steffi and Ovi, but they just don't have access to it. I just don't know why. But yeah, I just think with only having a Canva Pro, with using the MSU, I said MSU, the student email account and the password that all council member could have access to it and only have one account will benefit all of us just to have access to make flyers, to create something, and the same thing with Bitly, that we could also update our agenda in there, that students have easier access, that we can have it on our website or even on Instagram, that everything is just uploaded there.
Sky?
I do want to note for the council that the university is trying to push sections of the university to not use Canva Pro because of that Adobe Express that the university has. However, the PR committee feels we want to have Canva Pro anyway. It's not a large expense. We've looked at both options, and additionally, one of those reasons is because of ADA accessibility. Just because Adobe Express has a function where you can sort of check your accessibility. We in the PR committee will take up this task in ensuring that everything that comes through our committee, even if made with Canva Pro, will have proper ADA accessibility for what's the image readers and color blindness. Yeah, screen readers and using appropriate colors to suit folks with color blindness. We will take that up and use Canva Pro to the best of its ability in the PR committee.
So I have a question. So from what I'm hearing, and Canva, I know how to work it. It feels like a lot more simpler. However, is the fact that it's inaccessible to other counselors, is that the biggest concern, or is that something that if that concern wasn't present, would we still be able to use Adobe Workshop?
So with Adobe, since it's available for all students have to basically create their own account and then be connected with the student campus and then log in with the student email, which I have access to. But then it is through a hassle that a student doesn't have access, even though they did the same procedures that was instructed to them to do it. We would have to go to IT, and then IT would have to fix it for us. And I don't know how long that process is, but basically it's just your own personal private account. And unlike the Canva Pro, we all could use it like unanimously.
Brown?
So this is something I mentioned yesterday to the co-chairs, and I don't know if if you've already talked to IT about Canva Pro, but there might be a reluctance to want to let us purchase something like that using your fee dollars because of what Sky said. So I'm not trying to discourage you at all, but I do think I just want to prepare you for that reality that and this has happened with directors and departments, that they have told them that they cannot be purchasing these different subscriptions because they're not supported by the university. So I just want to put that out there, not trying to discourage you, just let you know that that might be a possibility. That's all.
Sky, then Will.
I wanted to say for me personally, I find Canva Pro to be easier to use than Adobe Express for an end user. I have used both. I prefer to use Canva Pro. We already are using Canva Pro. We are just using Canva Pro that we have personally as opposed to one that TSAC has. I think that we will likely continue to use Canva Pro regardless of whether or not TSAC buys a subscription to it or not. It's just a matter of ensuring that the designs that we make are available. All of those designs and files are available for next year's TSAC to have in their Canva Pro account. Also, if at any moment the council decides not to have Canva Pro after the subscription expires, the council would still have access to all of those files, even though the subscription has lapsed. Just another FYI.
Well, so I'm a little curious about this whole like passing it on to the next TSAC cycle. If IT were to say, well, you can't use that, would it, I don't think, well, I don't know, maybe someone can clarify on this, but it wouldn't be illegal to get around that, right? And work with another email, but maybe you'd lose the data or whatever, right? I don't know.
Follow up, Stephen?
I just wanted to say, I'm curious as to, I understand IT's wanting us to use Adobe Express, but I'm curious how IT would tell us that we can't purchase a subscription to Canva Pro. I could imagine like the policy administrator or someone who's enforcing the policy on ADA compliance could ensure that anything we post on social media is compliant. But I can't imagine how they would, through IT, tell us we can't make a purchase for our office supplies. I pose that question to our advisors because I'm very curious, and I wouldn't expect that from student government's budget, certainly.
I would say that it happens when you're using the credit card to pay for something. When accounting sees that you're paying a subscription to a vendor or like whatever it is, and they're really looking at things like that right now and auditing for things like that. And I can tell you, because it happens to my directors, they will let you know, they will let me know that this was like a purchase that shouldn't have been made. This shouldn't have happened. And then they tell me the why, or they tell them the why, and then it turns into a thing. So that's how I know it's happening. And usually it's accounting and IT. So it's more of the administrative process of like when we're paying for things and they see these ongoing, because we have to, Armando or Stephen have to allocate, right? In Workday and do all of these things. And that goes through accounting, and they see that we're not supposed to be purchasing certain subscriptions. So that's how.
I got Stephen here. Has had his hand up.
This is really just following up to what Dr. Barone said and to what Sky said. So MSU Denver brand policy, websites and web applications policy, under the website section, websites and web applications representing MSU Denver, including those created by departments, so on and so forth. Acquisition of third-party services must be reviewed and approved by ITS through a service ticket. So what I wanted to share with you all is, again, this is up to you all as a council to decide whether or not you want this. So if you approve it, what the process from our end will be is that we have to put in a ticket with IT and say, hey, student government would like to acquire Canva Pro. In doing so, I will also attach your approved legislation to that, showing that, hey, you all approve this. So in this sense, I will advocate for you. At the end of the day, if they say no, then as a staff member making that purchase for you, I can't really do anything else other than continue to ask for why, ask them if they want to come and talk to you all, or you all, if they would give space to talk with you all. So that's the process with how I would go about purchasing this for you all. If they say yes, then that's great. Then you have it.
Right.
Yeah, I just have a quick point of clarification. That policy section you just read is regarding MSU Denver's brand identity, and it says acquisition of new websites or web applications representing MSU Denver. That's talking about like a website that's representing. If we wanted to have an external website, it would have to be approved through the university. That's not talking about us purchasing a subscription to create media. That would be under a different policy. I'm not saying that what you're saying isn't also there too, but I would love to talk to the person who enforces that policy, if it is IT or whoever that individual is. But for the purposes of this resolution today, I do think TSAC can absolutely approve the spending for it. And then if we're told no by the university, come back and revisit that decision. That's how I'd hope we proceed, my fellow co-authors.
I think we could definitely like Oh,
Yeah.
you wanna? I think we could definitely like I do hope to pass this resolution and we could definitely resolve a ticket with IT and hopefully have the best chances. But if not, we could always like do a different outcome of this.
I want to give Steven and then Sai.
Just a point of clarification. So the MSU Denver brand policy is encompassing of websites and web applications. So this specific section is called the acquisition of new websites and web applications. So it still falls under a web application regardless of branding. We have to do that anyway for the purchase of anything. So I again agree with Susana. I'm happy to put this forward. I don't mind. This is what you all want. What you all need to think about is, okay, if they say no, do you want me to continue to push? And if so, and if still no, what's your plan B?
Yeah, is this so is it a all encompassing, like it has to be Canva Pro and Bitly, or can Bitly can it just be Bitly? You know, because there's such an like, is there the same sort of issue around the Bitly application?
There could be.
Okay.
Scott?
I did want to clarify for Sai is that both of these subscriptions would be separate, so it'd be two separate $120 purchases. I also want to say that I think a large part of this conversation has more so been about whether or not the university will let us actually swipe the card on this, and I think we can talk about that in the future. I know we have a lot on the agenda today. I'm going to put forward a motion to approve this resolution as it is currently written.
I like to wait for table the motion until we have our counselors return. I think we have one council. Is it just Irby? Just Irby? Okay. No, we're okay. All right then. We have a motion.
Second that motion.
All right. What were we motion to vote? Alrighty, let's do by roll call. Is that all right? Keegan, you ready for a roll call vote? Alrighty. Is there any particular way that makes it easier or no? Okay, let's start off with, let's see. I'll go off here about the agenda, which is by SGT-SAC members and roles. So I'll begin with Cyrus Holt.
Aye.
Faye Berry.
Aye.
Emma Fox.
Aye.
Maria Garcia.
Aye.
Patrick Cervera. Aye. Sky Say Childress.
Aye.
Susana Villa Gomez.
Aye.
William Coates.
Aye.
Matthew Rathman.
Aye.
Rowan East.
Aye.
Steffi Calero.
Aye.
Every Paul's not here. And
Aye.
therefore I put abstention. Oh. She was. Aye. Yes. Uh-huh. Alrighty.
Unanimous.
Okay, so that looks like it passed unanimously. Congratulations. Forward to it. Alrighty, move on for CRFA 2505 resolution to host a LinkedIn workshop by Steffi Calero. I'll now hand it off to her.
All right.
And we're just gonna have to wait till it pulled up real quick. It was like 2 seconds. Thank you. All right, Steffi, take it away.
Yes, so I'll read the abstract. This CGTSAC Public Relations Committee is responsible for promoting the initiatives, events, and resources to the MSU Denver student body. This resolution supports the Public Relations Committee in enhancing the student experience and promoting professional growth within their careers. Whereas Classroom to Career Hub C2 Hub serves as a vital resource for MSU Denver students, supporting their professional and academic success by providing career development services such as resume tailoring, networking guidance, and career readiness programming. Whereas LinkedIn is the world's largest professional network on the internet, it can be used to find jobs, internships, and connect with professionals. A complete LinkedIn profile can help you showcase your unique professional story by listing your experiences, skills, and education, allowing you to stand out from others. Lambda Theta Nu Sorority Inc. is an organization on the Bay Area campus. Its purpose is to enhance the Latinx community in pursuit of higher education. Lambda Theta Nu Sorority Inc. will be responsible for booking the room and providing readables. Within this collaboration, CGTSAC will assist student organizations on campus by enhancing the overall student body experience. Whereas professional headshots will be provided to participants, enabling them to have a professional image ready for the professional world. Creating a vital first impression is crucial for potential employers, clients, and colleagues. Whereas this initiative aligns with CGTSAC's mission to advocate for student success, provide equitable access to career resources, and prepare students for life after graduation by offering a professional development workshop opportunity. Therefore, be it resolved, the CGTSAC Public Relations Committee would like to host this professional development workshop that helps to enhance the students' experience through campus life. The CGTSAC Public Relations Committee would like $500 to be spent on this workshop.
Thank you so much, Steffi. Wanted to open up to the floor to discussion. Mateo.
I have a couple questions. Is there a reason why we're coming up with different ways to pass events, especially out of one committee, since previously a couple have been stated they were passed in committee and this one's now being passed as a resolution? And I also am curious, it looks like this is directly supporting a sorority as well within this event.
I just want to clarify that this is a collaboration within the sorority and with C2 Hub. So each of 3 organizations or 3 programs are putting an effort to make this event happen. So none of each is like doing like more than the other.
So to clarify, as far as the workshop, we are not going to be sponsoring this workshop. It is something that it's going to be a TSAC event with other sponsors included.
Yes.
Can I get my other question answered though?
Can you repeat that again?
Is there a reason why PR is approving events in different manners depending on which one it is?
Can you clarify that question, or what do you mean by that?
Within the last week or two, PR referenced that they approved at least 2 events through committee, and now one's coming through as a resolution. I'm just curious on why the different approaches to approving events.
I think this is a resolution that's collaborated with other programs in our own organization, and the last one is like within a TSAC, and the other one with the Bring Your Kids is like just a one collab. So we're just not really putting as much as an effort to it, to like sponsoring the whole event. And since we're all sponsoring part of the event and the sorority is sponsoring another part, and since C2 Hub is helping us to provide us lectures on how to build up your resume through LinkedIn, is a different one too.
You have the response, guy?
I wanted to say that we don't really have concrete procedures when it comes to PR because we haven't written our guidelines and procedures yet. I will let you know that we have had lots of conversations about that, and we are absolutely planning on it. I invite anyone who is very interested in that to help us write those.
Had a question over here, side.
Yes, so PR is providing the 500, correct? And will there be will the other organizations, the collaborators, also be providing funds? And I'd assume that the C2 Hub would provide funds for the sort of, workshop development thing, right? But so my question overall is, what are the funds going to be used for?
Yes, so from TSAC part, the funding is just providing the catering and helping out with the photographer. And with C2 Hub, they are just providing us to professionals like development
Professional development.
who is going to be at the event, like hosting and teaching and taking the time to teach the students. And Lambda Theta News Order Incorporated is providing the room, and the room is $250, and we're all getting sponsored by Red Bull. So Red Bull is already like free from that. So that's pretty much it.
William Coates?
I'd like to remind, I don't know if it was made aware about public comment, like the times on the agenda listed there. But I'm letting the co-chairs know. It says 6:45 to 7.
Yeah.
Point of order.
Yeah.
6:45 is absolutely the time public comment would have started. I don't see any people in attendance for public comment, but we should absolutely make note of it.
Absolutely. At 6:45, we did have public comment. We are about 7 minutes or late. So, but seeing as there's nobody, if someone does to come in, we definitely will be amenable to having them put in ahead of anything else that we have here. But also, just looking at the time, I wanted to ask, is there any other following questions here, or are we ready to proceed to vote? I'll leave it up to 2 more. Rowan?
Hi, so I'm very sorry to be this person, but I found a typo and I was just wondering if I could bring that up. I'm really sorry.
It's okay. I should have double proofed it. But
No, no, you're all good. In the third whereas, where okay, so if you know about it, then I'm not gonna, yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you so much, Rowan.
Yeah.
Sky? I put forward a motion to approve this resolution with the typo fixed.
Seconded.
All right.
Can I have one question?
Leave it up to if we have 2 hands just to clarify.
Rowan, can you clarify me the typo, please? Sorry.
Oh, yeah, totally. Sorry. In the second line of the third whereas, where the spelling of Latinx.
Thank you.
Latinx. Stephen?
This is a process question. So Susanna, we're hiring a photographer. Who are we hiring? Because I have to pay them.
Steffi has more info on that.
Yes, so I've been in contact with the photographer. I still have not signed the agreement or like anything. We haven't made no payments, just so, to see if we pass the resolution or not.
Okay, before you sign anything, can we work together for that?
Yeah.
As a counselors, and this is just good information, please do not sign anything. Give that to the professional staff because I don't want you all to be held liable for anything that may or may not happen. This is going to happen. This is fine. I just want to make sure, 1, we sign it, and 2, they can take credit card.
All right, sounds good.
All righty, I'll begin the voting here. Do we have any opposition? Any abstentions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, congratulations, resolution passes. Congratulations, Steffi, Irving, and Susanna. I know this was something you guys were definitely carefully working on. So as you guys can see, we have 5 minutes left, but we do have another resolution. This resolution is a hefty. It's just more of a discussion piece though for today. It's not really up to a discussion. So I wanted to get up to the council if we feel that we wanted to table this motion or if we want to, or table this business or continue on. Sky?
I think this resolution is important to for the council to hear. I would also want to let you know that we're not voting on this today, regardless of how much time's left. I know we had a lot of our meeting taken up today by some important discussion with President Davidson. I put forward a motion to extend our meeting by 10 minutes to just have the resolution read and to then have any discussion. and then we would close on time today.
I would put, motion to amend that motion. No, we're not doing that.
Stay with your-
To 15 minutes, not 10.
I will consider that amendment friendly. I will restate my motion. My motion is that we extend our meeting by 15 minutes today just to read and discuss this resolution with keeping in mind that anyone that needs to leave can leave on time.
And it seems like we have another question hand over here.
I was gonna say that we should table it. I feel like it requires a lot more time than 15 or 19 minutes. I think we should table it for our next TSAC meeting.
We're not voting on this today, so this wouldn't be all the time it gets. It would just be for us to read it and look at it. We would be presenting this again next week. This is just for us to look at it. So if you do need to leave, feel free to leave. I would hope that we could extend our meeting so that any of the counselors that are here could still listen and have that discussion about it so that the authors can incorporate that over this next week.
I'll leave it to one more detail for discussion and then we'll put up to vote. I'll put Susana.
I do also agree with Maria because I do think even though we're not voting on it, I think we do have like a lot of opinions or decisions on this. Like even though it's just a discussion, like discussions does take longer than 15 minutes. So I agree with Maria on that point.
I'm not gonna motion to vote if you're just asking if there's any opposition.
Yeah, is there any opposition to the extension of 15 minutes? Six, you got that? C, okay. Any abstentions? Any in favor? I feel five, six.
Comes out bad.
No.
Well, no, because it's 6, it fails regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 squared.
Either way, it fails. Okay.
Let's get Emma to vote. So.
Sorry, I sorry, I was gonna say aye, but it doesn't matter.
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded. All righty. This is closing the meeting, official closing.
Ask if there's
Any opposition? Sorry. Any opposition? No? Any abstentions? All righty. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Brown.